Start with new information in the case of a woman charged with manslaughter and child neglect after her child was found dead. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Schreier. Today, Justice Lang has pleaded not guilty to those charges. The 25-year-old was found wandering on a road east of Woodworth, North Dakota by a farmer back in July. She was taken to a hospital in Fargo while authorities launched a search for her missing 4-month-old baby. His body was found on the edge of a slough after a 2-day search. Lang is currently being held in the Stutsman County Jail. New for you at noon, Jamestown police are on the lookout for a suspect in an alleged armed gas station robbery. Police say this man on your screen right now went into a gas station in Jamestown around midnight. A store employee says the man pulled out a weapon, demanded money, and also personal property from that employee. The man is described as being around 5'8" and 30 years old. He has short brown hair and blue eyes and has a noticeable tattoo on his right hand. Call police if you know anything about this situation. Fargo police want your help finding this man. They say he was involved in an assault on September 2nd. Authorities say between 1 and 3 in the morning, a woman left a bar downtown and was followed home by this man. The woman then says the man approached her, assaulted her, and stole some of her property. Call police at 701-241-1405 if you know any information about this. For people heading out the door today, it was quite a shock to the system, but we are heading right on into fall. For what we can expect for the rest of our day, let's go to Storm Team meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good afternoon. We're looking at some mostly sunny skies here today, as we just saw in our sky cam in Fargo, but also throughout much of the valley. That sun helping to at least warm us up a little bit from our chilly temperatures this morning. A few clouds out to the west by Jamestown, but things are looking pretty good for us today. Our temperatures right now, 60s in most areas. It's 65 in Fargo, 63 in Grand Forks, and that wind has picked up. We've got some wind speeds out of the north and up to about 20 miles per hour. Including in Fargo. Shouldn't get too much stronger than that, but a little bit of a breeze with those temperatures will feel a bit chilly for anybody who's out in the open. We're looking at some sun throughout the rest of the day and temperatures rising to about 70 degrees for your high. Wind out of the north throughout the day too. Now heading into tonight, you can see by 1 a.m. we'll be into the 40s in Fargo. Over the next 12 hours, we'll see those temperatures continue to drop from there into the early morning, and we're talking frost in some areas. So details on that coming up in just a little bit.
Better be prepared. Thank you very much, Lisa. It's a soggy mess down in parts of southeast Minnesota. Hours of torrential rain led to street and backyard flooding. Dozens of cars stalled in deep water, and some people had to be rescued from their vehicles. There is concern about the safety of some roads now, and city officials are asking people to stay off of those roads until later today. A man is facing multiple charges after crashing his car and trying to run from police in South Fargo. Police attempted a traffic stop earlier this morning, but they say the driver wouldn't pull over. Officers say the driver later lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a fire hydrant, but he was still able to drive away. Eventually, police ended up chasing the suspect in the Fargo South High School neighborhood, and they later arrested 29-year-old Terry Perry for fleeing an officer, preventing an arrest, and for a drug charge. The Minnesota State Patrol suspects a driver overdosing on drugs may have caused a 3-vehicle crash. Troopers say he was first going the wrong way on a highway in the Twin Cities last night, then turned around on the road and hit 2 other cars before fighting with a trooper who was trying to get him out of his vehicle. A random person finally stopped to help the trooper get that driver in custody. The man is being treated at a hospital. No one else was injured. In our consumer alert this afternoon, Kellogg's is recalling a popular cereal after 30 people were allegedly sick with salmonella after eating it. The sickness is allegedly from Kellogg's Honey Smack cereal. Overall, there have been 130 cases of people getting sick in 36 states. A statement released by the CDC says no one has died from this illness. The cereal was recalled in June, but the Food and Drug Administration has still found that cereal for sale in some stores. The CDC is advising people not to eat any Kellogg's Honey Smack cereal, regardless of the package size or the best by date. It was a scary situation for travelers at JFK Airport in New York today. A plane was quarantined for a number of sick passengers on board. Emirates Airlines Flight 203 from Dubai landed at JFK this morning with about 500 passengers. Emergency vehicles swarmed the plane once it landed. Initial reports say 10 people were taken to the hospital, 7 crew members and 3 passengers. 100 others are now being evaluated by the CDC. A new report says an Ohio police officer violated policy when he chased down an 11-year-old shoplifter and then shocked her with a taser. It happened on August 6 outside a Kroger in Cincinnati. Police say that's where Officer Kevin Brown confronted the girl and her friends for stealing more than $50 in food and clothing. Police said Brown then tased the girl, saying she resisted arrest and tried to run away. Body camera video shows Officer Brown escorting her back into the store, where the fire department later removed those barbs from her back.
Then I got to listen to all these idiots out here in the parking lot tell me how I was wrong for tasing you. You broke the law, and you fled as I tried to apprehend you. You know what, sweetheart? This is why there aren't any grocery stores in the black community, because of all this going on.
Cincinnati's police chief has not yet said what disciplinary action Brown could face for this recent incident. It's down to business today for senators after a circus act at the hearing for nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Susan McGinnis has the latest from Washington on this controversial Supreme Court confirmation process.
Seconds into day 2 of confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, protesters interrupted.
Yesterday was
Soon after, Kavanaugh started facing questions from senators.
There is no dispute that you're one of the most qualified Supreme Court nominees.
The first thing that makes a good judge is independence, not being swayed by political or public pressure. That takes some backbone. That takes some judicial fortitude.
Kavanaugh went on to answer to Democrat Dianne Feinstein about gun control.
I've been very interested in your thinking on assault weapons.
I faced a decision where, as in every other decision just about on the D.C. Circuit, I had to follow precedent of the Supreme Court.
And on abortion rights, Kavanaugh insisted Roe v. Wade is settled as a precedent by the High Court.
It has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years. And I understand how passionate and how deeply people feel about this issue.
Kavanaugh also faces questions about executive power.
Can a sitting president be required to respond to a subpoena?
I can't give you an answer on that hypothetical question.
Today's questioning is expected to continue past 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
It was a gut.
Republicans are working to get a full Senate vote on Kavanaugh's nomination by the end of the month so he can be seated for the start of the Supreme Court's next term.